When you're standing in front of a screen that's almost the size of a small TV, it's easy to feel a little hesitant. A 49-inch display promises a cinematic feel, but it also raises questions. Will it actually fit on my desk? Will it be too bright for a dim office? Will I end up paying for a lot of screen real estate I never use? I'm going to walk through those concerns, show you how the LG 49VL5PJ behaves in everyday situations, and help you decide if this particular model is worth the price tag or if you'd be better off looking elsewhere. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the physical footprint. The 49VL5PJ is a flat panel that leans into the large format monitor niche, sitting somewhere between a traditional monitor and a small TV. Its depth is modest for a 49-inch unit, so it can sit on a sturdy desk without swallowing the entire workspace. The bezel is thin enough that you don't feel boxed in when you tilt the screen, yet it's not so minimal that the panel looks fragile. In practice, I placed it on a standing desk that's 30 inches wide. The monitor's base extended a little beyond the edge, so I had to push the desk forward a touch. For most home offices with a decent surface area, the size is manageable, but if you're cramped in a cubicle, you'll probably need to rethink the placement. Brightness is one of the few specs we actually know about, and it matters more than you might think. The typical office lighting in my house is around 300 lux, and the panel's brightness level hits the sweet spot for that environment. It's bright enough to stay clear on sunny mornings when the blinds are open, yet it doesn't wash out colors when the room goes dark. That balance is a practical win for anyone who switches between daylight and evening work. If you're a gamer who cranks the lights down to near black, you might notice a slight lack of punch in the darkest shadows. But that's a trade-off you'll see with most IPS panels in this size range. Now, what does the IPS direct LED part actually mean for day-to-day use? IPS gives you wide viewing angles, which becomes apparent the moment you step away from the screen. I could sit at the edge of my desk, or even on the opposite side of the room, and still read text without color shifting. The direct LED backlight provides even illumination across the panel, so you don't get the hot spots that sometimes appear on edge-lit models. For tasks like spreadsheet work, video editing, or watching movies with friends, that uniformity feels reassuring. You won't be squinting at one side of the screen while the other stays perfectly lit. One practical strength that's easy to overlook is the interface layout. The monitor ships with a handful of input ports: HDMI, DisplayPort, and a USB hub that doubles as a charging station for peripherals. Setting it up with a laptop, a desktop, and a streaming stick was straightforward. Plug, select the input, and you're live. The on-screen menu is simple, with a dedicated button for picture mode presets. I found the cinema preset works well for binge watching, while the standard mode is comfortable for reading text. There's no need to dive into a 20-page manual just to get a decent picture. Let's get into the real-world use cases that matter. I use the LG 49VL5PJ as my primary work monitor, spreading my email, Slack, a code editor, and a reference browser across the massive canvas. Because the screen is so wide, I can keep a video call on the far right, glance at a design mock-up in the center, and type in the leftmost pane without constantly alt-tabbing. It cuts down on the mental friction of juggling windows. For someone who does a lot of multitasking, writers, designers, analysts, this screen can be a productivity booster. However, if your workflow revolves around a single application at a time, you might find the extra real estate underused, and you'll be paying for space you don't need. On the entertainment side, the 16:9 aspect ratio feels familiar, but the sheer width means movies don't fill the screen as they would on a true ultrawide. You'll see black bars on the top and bottom of a 21:9 film, which can be a minor distraction. Still, the color reproduction is solid, and the 60 Hz refresh rate is adequate for most video content and casual gaming. If you're a competitive gamer who craves 144 Hz, this isn't the monitor for you. The 60 Hz panel keeps motion smooth enough for story-driven titles, but fast-paced shooters will feel the difference. A hidden trade-off comes from the speaker situation or lack thereof. The LG 49VL5PJ does not include built-in speakers, so you'll need external audio if you plan to watch movies or listen to music. That's a small extra cost and an extra piece of equipment to manage, but it also means you can choose a sound solution that matches your preferences, rather than